Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Victor and Nikki renew their vows at the Newman Ranch Y&R Spoilers. The first rays of sunlight stretched across the rolling grounds of the Newman Ranch, casting a golden glow over the gardens where countless family memories had been made. Gardeners carefully arranged white roses along a winding path leading to an elegant gazebo while strings of crystal lights waited to illuminate the evening celebration. For the first time in many months, the Newman Ranch wasn't preparing for a family crisis. It was preparing for hope. Victor Newman stood alone near the gazebo, quietly watching the staff complete the final decorations. Michael Baldwin approached with a small leather folder in his hand. "Everything is ready." Victor nodded. "Security handled the guests. They've all confirmed." Michael smiled. "I've seen you negotiate billion-dollar acquisitions without blinking." But today, Victor looked toward the empty aisle. "Today is different." Michael chuckled. "I thought so." Victor rarely admitted feeling nervous, but renewing his vows with Nikki carried a significance unlike any business victory. They had survived betrayals, family feuds, heartbreaking losses, and more separations than either cared to count. Through it all, they had somehow always found their way back to each other. This ceremony wasn't about proving anything to Genoa City. It was about reminding each other why they had never truly walked away. Inside the ranch house, Nikki sat before a large mirror while Victoria carefully adjusted the delicate veil resting over her shoulders. "You look beautiful, Mom." Nikki smiled warmly. "I've worn wedding dresses before." Victoria laughed. "So has Dad." They both laughed quietly before emotions settled over the room. Nikki reached for Victoria's hand. "When you were little, you used to insist on wearing my pearls whenever you played dress up." Victoria smiled at the memory. "You always let me. I always knew you'd grow into an extraordinary woman." Victoria's eyes became misty. "You and Dad gave me the strength to keep standing even when I didn't think I could." A gentle knock interrupted them. Nick entered carrying a small velvet box. "I think Dad wanted you to have this before the ceremony." Nikki opened it carefully. Inside rested the original wedding ring Victor had given her decades earlier. She stared at it silently. "I thought this had been lost." Nick smiled. "He never lost it." Victoria looked surprised. "He kept it." Nick nodded. "All these years." Nikki closed the box, overcome with emotion. Across town at the Abbott mansion, Jack Abbott straightened his tie before leaving for the ranch. Diane noticed him smiling. "You seem happier than usual." "I've known Victor and Nikki a long time." "You've also fought with them a long time." Jack laughed. "That's true." He looked out the window. "But every once in a while, it's nice to celebrate something instead of surviving it." Diane gently touched his arm. "They've earned today." "So have we." Meanwhile, Sharon arrived at Crimson Lights to pick up a catering order for the ceremony. Faith and Mariah helped load desserts into the car while discussing how rare it was to see the Newman family united. Faith smiled. "I hope nothing ruins today." Mariah exchanged a glance with Sharon. In Genoa City, they all laughed. "Let's hope everyone behaves at Newman Enterprises." Adam stood alone in his office, staring at his invitation. Chelsea entered quietly. "You're leaving soon?" Adam nodded. "I almost didn't go." Chelsea looked surprised. "Why?" "Sometimes I still feel like an outsider when the family gathers." Chelsea stepped closer. "Victor invited you because you're his son." Adam looked away. Being invited and belonging aren't always the same thing. Chelsea gently squeezed his hand. "Go anyway." Back at the ranch, preparations continued perfectly. Victor quietly walked through the gardens, remembering every chapter of his life with Nikki. He could almost hear echoes of family celebrations, difficult conversations, and promises made beneath the same trees. His thoughts were interrupted when Noah arrived. "Grandpa." Victor smiled warmly. "You made it. I wouldn't miss this." Noah looked around the beautifully decorated grounds. "You've gone all out," Victor answered simply. "Your grandmother deserves nothing less." As guests gradually arrived, laughter replaced the usual tension that often surrounded Newman family gatherings. Jack greeted Victor. "I have to admit." Victor looked at him. "What? You clean up well." Victor smiled faintly. "So do you, Abbott." For once, there was no hostility, only mutual respect. Nearby, Nikki greeted friends and family as they admired the elegant setting. Lauren embraced her warmly. "You look radiant." "Thank you." Christine smiled. "I don't think I've ever seen Victor this nervous." Nikki laughed softly. "He hides it well." Lauren leaned closer. "Not today." As sunset approached, Soft began playing throughout the gardens. Guests took their seats. Victoria escorted Nikki toward the entrance to the flower-lined aisle while Nick quietly joined Victor beneath the gazebo. "You ready?" Nick asked. Victor looked toward the house. "I've been ready for decades." The music changed. Everyone stood. Nikki appeared at the end of the aisle wearing a timeless ivory gown that reflected elegance rather than extravagance. She smiled through tears as her eyes met Victor's. For a brief moment, the years seemed to disappear. They were simply Victor and Nikki again. A man and a woman who had chosen each other, despite every obstacle life had placed in their path. Slowly, Nikki walked toward him. Victor never looked away. Halfway down the aisle, Nikki noticed several framed family photographs displayed among the flowers. Pictures of Nicholas as a child, Victoria's graduation, Noah, Summer, Faith, Christian, Johnny, Katie, Claire, even Adam. Every chapter of their complicated family had been honored. Tears rolled gently down Nikki's cheeks. When she finally reached the gazebo, Victor quietly took both of her hands. "You look beautiful." "So do you." The officiant smiled warmly. "We gather here today not because this couple needs reminding of their love." He paused, "but because love deserves celebrating after every trial it survives." Before the ceremony could continue, the peaceful music suddenly stopped. Guests looked around in confusion. Michael immediately checked his phone. His expression changed. Victor noticed. "What is it?" Michael stepped closer. "Someone just accessed the ranch security system." Victor's eyes narrowed. "We don't know yet." At that exact moment, every decorative screen surrounding the garden flickered. Instead of displaying family photographs, a single anonymous message appeared in bold black letters. Some vows were never meant to be renewed. A stunned silence swept across the ranch. Nikki instinctively tightened her grip on Victor's hand. Guests exchanged anxious glances. Michael signaled security to investigate immediately. Victor remained calm, though his eyes had hardened. "No one leaves." The officiant quietly stepped back. Jack looked toward the security monitors. "Someone planned this." Adam frowned. "They're trying to ruin today." Nikki looked at Victor. "Who would do this?" Victor didn't answer immediately. Instead, he stared at the mysterious message still glowing across every screen. Deep down, he realized this wasn't a random act of vandalism. Someone had waited for the most meaningful day of their lives. Someone wanted the Newman family celebrating only so they could tear that happiness apart. And as security rushed to trace the intrusion, an unseen figure watched the ceremony through a remote camera feed from miles away. The figure smiled. "The renewal has begun." A finger hovered over another button. "But the real test of those vows is about to begin." A heavy silence settled over the Newman ranch as the mysterious message remained on every screen surrounding the garden. Some vows were never meant to be renewed. The guests exchanged uneasy glances. Only moments earlier, laughter had filled the air. Now the celebration stood on the edge of disaster. Michael Baldwin immediately spoke into his phone. "Lock every entrance to the ranch. No one comes in or leaves until we know who's behind this." Victor never loosened his grip on Nikki's hand. He looked at her calmly. "Don't be afraid." Nikki managed a small smile. "I'm not afraid as long as I'm standing beside you." Those simple words reminded Victor why this day mattered. This wasn't about flowers, decorations, or elegant speeches.